Who will truly be by your side in your most difficult years? It's natural to believe that in our later years, we will be surrounded by our children, our spouse, or our closest family members. After all, we've spent a lifetime caring for them, nurturing relationships, and making sacrifices. We assume that the love we have given will return to us when we need it the most. But reality often unfolds differently. Many people, sometimes to their great shock and sorrow, find that those they expected to be by their side are not there. Not because they don't care, but because life pulls them in different directions. Responsibilities, careers, and even geographical distances create gaps that love alone may not always bridge. So who will be there for you when the years weigh heavier on your shoulders? And more importantly, what can you do today to ensure that your old age is not filled with loneliness, but with dignity, companionship, and a sense of purpose? In this video, we will break down the illusions surrounding aging and take a deep, honest look at what truly matters in the later years of life. Together, we'll explore not just who will stay, but how you can take control of your future, making choices that will bring you comfort and security in your most delicate years. Stay with me until the end, because what we uncover today could change the way you think about your future and maybe even change your life. Now, let's begin. From an early age, we are taught that family is our refuge, the pillar that will always support us in any circumstance. We grow up surrounded by images of loving grandparents, children running around them, and families gathered together at holiday tables, sharing laughter, warmth, and love. These moments seem like unshakable truths, passed down through generations, reinforced by movies, traditions, and the stories we hear. We are led to believe that as we grow older, we will never be alone, that there will always be someone by our side to help us, care for us, and ensure that we never feel abandoned. This comforting belief stays with us throughout our lives. It shapes the way we imagine our future, making us feel secure in the idea that the bonds we have built, through love, sacrifice, and years of devotion, will remain just as strong when we reach old age. But as the years pass, reality often takes a different shape. The idea that family will always be close, both emotionally and physically, can turn into a painful illusion, leaving many to face an unexpected and difficult truth. Children grow, and as they do, their lives begin to take different paths. The intense everyday relationship that once existed, filled with constant attention, care, and presence, slowly starts to change. The child who once needed you for everything becomes an adult with their own responsibilities, challenges, and ambitions. Work commitments, financial struggles, and the demands of raising their own families take up their time and energy. Some move to different cities or even different countries in search of opportunities that take them far from home. Others, even if they remain nearby, find themselves caught in a cycle of endless obligations, careers, parenting, social responsibilities, and personal challenges, leaving little time for anything else. This distance is not necessarily a sign of a lack of love or affection, but a reality of modern life. In the past, families were often territorially united, living together in the same house or just a few steps away. Parents, children, and grandchildren coexisted in a way that made support and care a natural part of daily life. But today, globalization, economic demands, and shifting societal norms have changed the way families function. The closeness that once seemed inevitable is no longer guaranteed, and for many, the realization comes as a painful surprise. Even when children are physically close, their ability to provide continuous support is not something that can always be relied upon. The demands of adult life do not slow down, and for many, caring for aging parents becomes something they struggle to balance with their own overwhelming responsibilities. It's not a matter of neglect or intentional distance, it's simply the way life unfolds for most people. And so, when children are unable to be there in the way one might have hoped, the natural expectation shifts toward a spouse. After years of living together, sharing experiences, and overcoming hardships side by side, it seems natural to believe that one will take care of the other until the end. The love and bond built over decades create the expectation that in old age, a partner will always be there to provide care and companionship. But this belief does not take into account the inevitable realities of aging. Even when a spouse is present, they too are growing old. The body weakens, illnesses develop, and physical and mental limitations begin to appear. What happens when both partners need help, but neither is strong enough to provide it? When chronic illnesses, mobility issues, or cognitive decline make it impossible to rely solely on each other? The idea of mutual support, while beautiful in theory, can become difficult, if not impossible, when both individuals are struggling with the weight of their own aging bodies. This is the reality that many fail to anticipate. The comforting images of old age surrounded by loved ones do not always align with the way life actually unfolds. The belief that family will always be there, that children will always have time, and that a spouse will always be able to provide care can sometimes lead to disappointment. And when that realization comes, it can be painful. But this is not about fear, it is about understanding the truth. Recognizing these realities is the first step toward preparing for the future with clarity and awareness. Because in the most delicate years of life, the most important question is not just who will be by your side, but how you will ensure that your later years are lived with dignity, security, and peace. In addition to the gradual distancing of family members, there is another painful reality that is often overlooked: the loss of a spouse. Many older individuals find themselves suddenly alone after the passing of a lifelong partner, facing a solitude they were never truly prepared for. The absence of a person who was once a constant presence, a confidant, a companion, a source of comfort, can leave a void that feels impossible to fill. If they have not built a broader support system, this sudden isolation can lead to an overwhelming sense of loneliness, one that many never expected to experience so profoundly. This moment of realization can be deeply unsettling. After spending a lifetime nurturing relationships, making sacrifices, and believing in the unbreakable strength of family bonds, an elderly person may suddenly find that reality does not align with the expectations they have carried throughout their life. This disconnect can bring about a wave of disappointment, sadness, and even resentment. They may begin questioning everything. Where did I go wrong? Why are my children not as present as I thought they would be? After so many years together, why can my partner and I no longer support each other in the way we used to? These thoughts can be devastating, shaking the very foundation of a person's beliefs about love, loyalty, and family. And then a new fear creeps in, the fear of becoming a burden. No one wants to feel like an obligation, an extra responsibility that others must carry. This fear often leads elderly individuals to withdraw, to stay silent about their struggles, to avoid asking for help even when they need it most. They convince themselves that their children are too busy, that their problems are not urgent enough, that they should just manage on their own. Meanwhile, their children, wrapped up in the whirlwind of their own lives, interpret this silence as a sign of independence. They assume their parents are fine, unaware of the quiet suffering that is taking place behind closed doors. And if a spouse is still present, they too may be struggling, overwhelmed by their own limitations, unable to provide the level of care and support they desperately wish they could. The hard truth is that as much as we cherish family, as much as we build our lives around them, they cannot always be the ultimate solution to every challenge of old age. Not because there is a lack of love, but because life is unpredictable and people have their own limits. No matter how strong the bonds we share, circumstances can change, and relying solely on family for emotional, physical, and social support can sometimes lead to disappointment. This is why it is essential to begin creating alternative sources of support before it is too late. Building meaningful relationships outside of immediate family, whether through friendships, neighbors, community groups, or shared interests, can be the difference between an old age spent in isolation and one in which you still feel connected, valued, and part of something greater. Investing in these connections does not mean abandoning family. Rather, it means enriching your life with additional layers of support, ensuring that you have a network of people who care for you in different ways. Accepting this reality is not an act of surrender. It is an act of wisdom. It does not mean giving up on loved ones or expecting less from them. It simply means preparing for a future that is more realistic, one where happiness and fulfillment do not depend solely on children or spouses. Old age does not have to be defined by loneliness, regret, or longing for a past that no longer exists. Instead, it can be a time of dignity, peace, and meaningful connection, but only if we take steps today to shape that future, to create the kind of support system that will truly sustain us when we need it the most. So, if family is not always a guarantee of presence, who will truly stand by your side during the most challenging years of your life? The answer may be unexpected, even unsettling at first. The one person who will never abandon you is yourself. At first, this realization might feel lonely or even discouraging. We are conditioned to seek comfort in the presence of others, to believe that our security in old age will come from the love and support of family. But when you truly embrace this idea, it becomes not a source of fear, but a powerful revelation. Because if you are your own greatest ally, that means you have the ability to shape your own future, to build a foundation today that will sustain you tomorrow. You may not be able to control your children's choices or predict your spouse's health, but you can take control of your own well-being and create a support system that is not dependent on circumstances beyond your control. Being your own strongest pillar starts with taking care of yourself in every possible way, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Your body is your first and most important travel companion through old age. Treating it with care is not just about adding years to your life, but about adding quality to those years. A strong, healthy body allows you to remain independent, mobile, and capable. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and routine medical checkups are not just good habits. They are investments in your future. They can mean the difference between an old age where you remain active and engaged, or one where you are completely dependent on others for even the simplest tasks. But physical strength alone is not enough. A sharp, resilient mind is just as essential. Keeping your brain active through reading, learning, solving puzzles, exploring new hobbies helps prevent cognitive decline and keeps you mentally flexible. Life is constantly changing, and the ability to adapt is what determines whether those changes feel like challenges or insurmountable obstacles. A curious mind, one that never stops growing, is a mind that remains vibrant even in the later years. Equally important is emotional resilience, the ability to navigate loss, loneliness, and change without being consumed by them. Old age, like every stage of life, comes with its share of hardships. The loss of loved ones, shifts in relationships, and physical limitations can be difficult to endure. But those who cultivate inner strength, who embrace solitude without fearing it, and who find purpose even in quiet moments, are the ones who experience old age not as an ending, but as a new chapter. One still filled with possibilities. Rather than waiting for others to provide support, start creating a life where you are your own source of strength. Build relationships beyond family. Friendships, community ties, and social circles that bring joy and companionship. Develop skills and passions that make you feel fulfilled. Prioritize your health, your growth, and your happiness. Because in the end, the one person who will always be with you from beginning to end is you. While you are your own greatest ally, life is not meant to be lived in isolation. Besides yourself, there are others, often outside your immediate family, who can play a crucial role in your life, offering companionship, support, and a sense of belonging. These individuals may not share your blood, but they share something just as valuable, a sincere, lasting bond built over time. However, these relationships do not form overnight. They require effort, care, and the willingness to nurture connections beyond your immediate circle. One of the most significant sources of support comes from loyal friends. Unlike family, friendships are chosen, cultivated through shared experiences, and strengthened by trust and mutual understanding. A true friend can stand by your side through life's highs and lows, offering companionship that sometimes even family members cannot provide. But friendship is not something that can be taken for granted. It requires attention and effort to sustain. It is not enough to have had close friends in your youth if those relationships are left to wither over time. Friendships must be maintained with the same care we give to other important aspects of life. If you have lost touch with someone who once meant a lot to you, take the initiative to reconnect. A simple phone call, a heartfelt message, or an invitation to meet can reignite a bond that might become a source of strength in your later years. Another often overlooked source of companionship is our neighbors. Many people fail to recognize the value of building strong relationships with those who live nearby. Neighbors are often the closest people to us physically, and in times of need, they can become an essential part of our support system. A good neighbor might be the first to notice if something is wrong, offer a helping hand in daily tasks, or simply be there to share a friendly conversation. As we age, these small interactions can make the difference between feeling isolated and feeling part of a caring community. If you haven't yet established a bond with your neighbors, now is the perfect time to start. A simple greeting, an act of kindness, or a small favor can lay the foundation for a relationship that provides security and companionship in the years to come. Beyond friends and neighbors, there is incredible power in being part of a community. Whether it's a cultural association, a volunteer group, a sports club, or a religious gathering, belonging to a group provides more than just social interaction. It gives life meaning. These communities remind us that we are not alone, that we are valued, and that we still have much to contribute. They provide emotional support, shared experiences, and a reason to remain active and engaged. If you do not yet belong to a community, take the first step in finding one that aligns with your interests. Join a book club, participate in local events, or volunteer for a cause that matters to you. It is never too late to form new relationships and surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. Lastly, as we grow older, many of us will interact with care professionals, nurses, caregivers, or staff at senior facilities. Though these individuals may start as service providers, they have the potential to become trusted companions. The way we treat these caregivers can make all the difference in the quality of care and human connection we receive. Approaching them with kindness, respect, and gratitude can transform what might feel like a cold, transactional relationship into one filled with warmth and dignity. A simple act of appreciation, a genuine conversation, or acknowledging their efforts can create an environment where care is not just a duty but an act of genuine support. While family may not always be a guaranteed source of presence and support, life offers us many opportunities to build meaningful relationships. Friends, neighbors, community members, and caregivers can become the pillars of our later years, offering companionship, assistance, and emotional support. However, these relationships do not form on their own. We must invest in them today to reap their benefits in the future. It is never too late to create the kind of support network that will stand the test of time. And the best part? You don't have to wait for it to happen. You can start building it right now. In the end, it won't necessarily be those connected to you by blood or bound by obligation who will remain by your side. It will be those who choose to be there. And that choice isn't just theirs, it also depends on you. The people who stand with you in your most vulnerable years won't do so because they have to, but because they genuinely want to. They will be the ones you treated with kindness, supported in times of need, and nurtured with respect and appreciation over the years. If you want to be surrounded by warmth, care, and companionship in old age, the time to act is now. The relationships you cultivate today will shape the life you live tomorrow. Start by strengthening your friendships. Reach out, reconnect, and invest time in those who matter. Get to know your neighbors. A simple conversation today could turn into a lifelong support system. Find a community that enriches you, whether through shared interests, faith, or a cause that brings you fulfillment. And most importantly, treat with dignity and respect those who may one day care for you. A small act of kindness today can make all the difference in the future. The truth is, the future is uncertain. But one thing is certain. What you sow today will determine who will be by your side tomorrow. So take a moment to reflect. Who truly stands with you now? And what steps can you take to ensure you won't face the years ahead alone? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. And as always, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.